Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to our session on strategic partnerships and joint ventures. Welcome. The purpose of this session is to introduce you to the power of strategic partnerships and joint ventures as a lever that you can use in your business that will allow you to harness the power of other people's money and the investments that they've made in their own business assets. This is collaboration at its finest, and it is something that you could really use to power your own business growth. Being able to find such a relationship is often the hardest part of putting these deals together. You can spend a lot of time doing cold outreach and get nowhere. Our platform helps solve this for you. You can post an opportunity or look for an opportunity that someone's already posted and see if it's a fit for you. This saves a ton of legwork, rejection, and knockbacks, and it helps keep you working productively in your own business. So let's jump into this session all about strategic partnerships and joint ventures. Partnerships literally fuel business growth, and if it's a lever that you're not pulling, then you're leaving profit on the table. This means that it is something that you should really be paying attention to. Good partnerships can accelerate growth, and in business, if you aren't growing, you're going backwards. This is just because every business will experience some turnover of their customer base, and unless you replace those lost clients, your business will decline. So you either expand or contract, you multiply or diminish. There's no such thing as staying constant. Your business is built to provide you with predictable results and predictable profits, and that requires growth. Now, growth can come in many forms: developing your ability, your marketing, increasing your database, expanding your monetization model, building your access to different channels, and encouraging the growth in your people. Joint ventures and strategic partnerships provide a way for you to access the ability to grow without necessarily making the investment in the infrastructure underneath it. You instead leverage off what other people have done before you in their own business and work together. The number one thing that I really want you to take away from today is how to build strategic partnerships and joint ventures in your business so that you can move your business to a place of predictable profit and sustainable long-term growth. You want to be able to see just how you can leverage the business resources of other business owners and the investments that they've already made for a total win-win outcome. You'll discover how to take charge of obsolete, abandoned, or underutilized assets and use them to create maximum revenue for your own business. You'll be able to use some creative thinking to just how you can apply this in your own situation. You are truly richer than what you think, and now is the time to unleash that. You'll also begin to understand the true value of the assets that you have inside of your own business and how you can maximize your return off them. And the last thing is in showing you just how the 60/40 platform makes it easy to find other business owners who are as interested as you in creating relationships through strategic partnerships and joint ventures. One of the big things that we're often asked is, well, what's the difference between a strategic partnership and joint venture? So let's take a look at that first off the bat. While it is true that strategic partnerships and joint ventures are very similar in their objective, the method in how they achieve this end result is quite different. A lot of the differences are relative too. Most strategic partnerships will be much smaller and intend to be run as a collaboration for a short or fixed period of time. And not all will be like this, just as not all joint ventures will be large-scale projects. There are both advantages and disadvantages to both types, which we'll go over later, and ultimately what you choose will depend upon your own circumstances and the nature of your own business. So we're starting on the same page. Let's just take a quick look at what we mean when we say joint venture and strategic partnership. So a bit of a definition, if you will. A joint venture, or JV, is a business arrangement between two or more parties who combine their resources to perform a specific task or to achieve a business objective. There are two types of joint ventures: incorporated, so it's a separate legal entity, or unincorporated. This is where each party holds a specific share of the joint venture outcomes administered by an agreement. But in the case of an unincorporated JV, there's no separate legal entity that defines the agreement. Having a separate legal entity means that it is totally differentiated from the businesses of each of the people that come together. It also means that the new, now separate entity can enter into its own contracts and hold property under its own name. A strategic partnership is often called a few different names really, so partnership, alliance, collaboration. It's all pretty much the same thing. An agreement between two or more parties to come together to undertake a mutually beneficial project while still keeping their own independence. It means that separate people or businesses come together to work towards a common goal that ultimately helps all people and the businesses involved. Mutually beneficial is a key statement when talking about partnerships, simply because these are all about win-win outcomes. Aside from the structure alone, there are a couple of other major distinctions that will form part of the decision about whether you choose to go with a JV or a strategic partnership. Now, the first is the objective. A joint venture is more focused on management of the risk involved in a project, and it aims to bring together different parties to achieve an end result. A business might decide to enter into a JV for a number of short or long-term projects, such as property development, mining syndicates, and research and development, whereas the primary objective of a strategic partnership is to maximize overall returns and to generate a profit. The timeframe to achieve the objectives of a strategic partnership will generally be shorter than for a JV. Independence is another distinction. In a JV, the parties operate as one. They combine their resources in order to produce their outcome. With a strategic partnership, on the other hand, each party continues on doing their own doing and only work together when working on the common project. It would be fair to say that joint ventures are much more formal in nature and are usually intended to be incredibly long-standing. This means that they are usually used in bigger businesses and will be driven by contractual relationships. A strategic partnership, on the other hand, can generally be achieved through a handshake or a really informal agreement. However, that does add to the risk. But you can choose what you need, which is why we offer both strategic partnerships and joint ventures as opportunity types on our platform. When you go through our process, we ask you basic questions that will help you manage the overall risk of whatever type you choose by asking a number of standard questions that will help you begin to put a deal together. Management is another separator between the two. In a joint venture, management is shared and ultimately determined by what was agreed. In larger JVs, a new management team might be formed altogether just for the specific purpose of the joint venture. A strategic partnership, however, is much more informal, and as such, there is no real joint management. Oftentimes, leadership will just be drawn from the resources inside each of the businesses who are working together. And last in this set, but certainly not least, is about the profits. In a JV, the parties usually divide the profits between themselves at the end of the project, and the written contract will govern how the distributions are calculated and how they are made. With a strategic partnership, it will depend ultimately on the nature of the agreement. Oftentimes, it's just a gross revenue share, so a percentage of the dollar sold. And it could be something as simple as, I'll give you space in my store to sell your stock, but I'll take 20% of the total sale. This is easy to administer and doesn't involve any accounting trickery to play with the definition of profit. Strategic partnerships and joint ventures can be formed both within and outside of an industry. As you work out the type of opportunity that you want to put together, then you'll begin to develop an understanding of just which is the right path for you. Now, there's pros and cons for pretty much everything, and JVs or strategic partnerships are no different. So let's dig into some of these now. Either of these structures can work because they've got some major advantages, and these include business expansion without significant capital investment or lead time, the ability to generate growth without borrowing money or seeking outside investment. You can develop new products and services. You can get greater access to staff and resources, and it can be temporary. Some of the disadvantages include making sure that you're working together with the same intensity or the same agreed intensity, and this is because the overall success is highly dependent on working collaboratively towards the common goal. There could be a risk of conflict about meeting milestones and finding people that you can trust in order to enter into such agreements. At 60/40, we help you find other people who are looking to enter into these types of agreements, people who are just like you, wanting to build and grow their business through joint ventures and strategic partnerships. The key to any relationship is trust. You'll be working with unknown people from different companies, and in order to accomplish your shared goals, you'll need to trust them. Trust must be earned, though. You're going to be working with these people for what could end up being quite a length of time. You'll need to do your homework when the prospect of a partnership does come up and decide whether or not the other party really deserves your trust. While we can't force create trust, we hope that the deal environment and the framework that we build helps you work through various terms so that you can feel comfortable working with each other. Some of the things to consider when you enter into an agreement include things like being clear on just who the parties to the agreement are, what each of them bring to the party, and how you will manage the milestones. The details of the structure and objectives, the financial elements including will it be funded, so will you have to put in your cash at the start, and what's going to happen with the profit. If there's losses too, you would also need to give some consideration to those. How are you going to audit the arrangement? So what records or documents will need to be kept? What are the obligations and responsibilities for each party? What happens to any assets, especially intellectual property, that comes into existence as a result of the partnership? How will you keep things confidential? And what's the process for winding up or terminating the agreement? Now, this isn't a complete list, there's lots more, and it isn't intended to be complete either. Everyone's situation and the deal that they put together will be unique. Let's take a look at some of the examples of joint ventures or strategic partnerships. Coffee shops and bookstores. What better place to relax with a cup of coffee than in a bookstore? Now, this is an excellent pairing as the coffee shop can sell more coffee or tea, and the bookstore gets to sell more books or magazines. It can also enhance the customer service experience with in-store cafes. It helps turn valuable retail real estate into a profit center. One of the more recognized names doing this is the American companies Barnes & Noble bookstores with Starbucks. A more competitive example here would be between beer brewing and wineries. Now, Phil Sexton is a legendary figure in the Australian drinks industry. He founded Matilda Bay Brewing Company, which was Australia's first craft brewery in 1983. After Foster's acquired Matilda Bay, Phil went on to co-found one of my favourite craft breweries, Little Creatures. He then went on to develop his own winery. Now, in October 2019, Phil Sexton and Matilda Bay's current owners formed a boutique brewery joint venture. This supported an expansion of the CUB's existing Matilda Bay label, with the new brewery expected to develop a new range for the label in addition to producing their existing better-known beer range. The parties also intended to convert Sexton's Giant Steps winery in Victoria's Yarra Valley into a boutique brewery, complete with its own pub. Joint ventures in the mining industry are definitely on the rise as well. In 2019, Barrick and Newmont partnered to combine their assets in Nevada, creating the world's largest gold complex. Now, this is a classic example of companies finding synergies in the co-location of their assets. The CEO of Newmont at the time, Gary Goldberg, had said that the agreement represents an innovative and effective way to generate long-term value from our joint assets in Nevada. And when capital is constrained and when market capitalizations don't reflect full corporate value, some industry players will choose to consolidate like this in order to gain scale, and that is where joint ventures can be a natural solution. Marketing collaborations are a form of strategic partnership as well. This is the process of bringing like-minded businesses together and aligning their interests to share resources to increase brand exposure, increase leads, and build influence. Ultimately, the intent here is to lead to sales and to profit. The centerpiece of a marketing partnership could include larger initiatives like conducting research with other firms, or it could be something as small as asking a partner for a specific retweet on Twitter or a post on Instagram. It all depends upon the firms involved and their own strategic goals. Many marketing partnerships start small and grow over time as the two firms get to know one another and find out what works best for each of them. When you think about the connection between partnerships and growth, it makes a lot of sense. If you can work cooperatively with another organization that communicates with a segment of your audience that you haven't yet addressed, then your reach or your potential universe of clients will expand. And if the firm you partner with is held in high esteem by its own audience, some of that credibility can then be transferred to your firm by association. So why wouldn't you add this to your marketing toolkit? We make it easier to find partners who are open to doing these sort of deals on the 60/40 platform. Affiliate marketing is also a strategic partnership of sorts because there's the promise of exchange to achieve an end result. Here, affiliates can come from ambassadors or people who love the product or those who are just out to make their own money through sale of others' products. And this is a great way to create a business even if you don't have a product of your own. So let's take a look at an example using our avatars. So Kath, the cafe owner, wants to expand and she's talked to the restaurant owner Ruby, who's 2 suburbs over. See, Ruby's restaurant only runs at night and Kath wants to look at running a new concept, so she doesn't want to enter into a whole new lease for a trial idea. Ruby, on the other hand, only operates at night, so her space is available all throughout the day. Kath and Ruby team up, and Kath agrees to rent the space from Ruby during the day. Kath has to be cleaned up and out of there by 3 p.m. so Ruby's chefs can start their work for the night. So Kath decides to operate her new cafe from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., which leaves an hour for cleaning. Ruby and Kath are both happy with this arrangement and agree to do a trial run for 3 months. Kath gets her trial and Ruby makes money out of using the space during the day when it would have otherwise sat empty. Strategic partnerships or collaborations are best known for marketing purposes, so this section is specifically about how you can use strategic partnerships or joint ventures in marketing of your business. Profit growth is driven by customer acquisition, increasing the value of each sale, and increasing the number of times each year that a sale is made, and this makes strategic partnerships tailor-made for marketing. Did you know that your ideal customer, or as we call them, your perfect prospect, the person you're trying to get in front of during your acquisition process, is already somebody else's client, and that other business has spent time, energy, effort, and money in order to acquire them? Strategic partnerships in marketing allow you to leverage off all of this hard work that's gone before and gives you direct access to that market. This is a way that you can turn your competitors, well, at least your indirect competitors, into partners. Now, and it's important to understand this, you have direct competitors right now, people that literally sell and do exactly the same thing that you do. It means then that it becomes important to identify your indirect competitors. It's because these businesses are going to be the partnership targets for marketing. Those indirect competitors are the ideal avatar for a strategic relationship. So this is someone who has the same customer and sees the same kind of avatar client that you're looking for, but yet they don't have a direct solution like yours. That's your indirect competitors, and they are definitely who you want to reach out to see if there's a deal that can be happily made for them to give you access to their customer base. The key thing here is that it's essential that you know what your customer avatar or your perfect prospect profile looks like. And this is one of our foundation self-leadership courses when you sign up for our business education and mentoring plan. It is that important. It's about your customer avatar and all of the good stuff that goes into that profile. But it is also about so much more. You need to provide value, and a veneer check of demographics just isn't going to cut it. You need to develop an understanding of what drives their purchasing decisions, up and down the value ladder of what it is that they're trying to achieve. You'll need to know this when considering a JV or strategic partnership, because that's going to help you frame up the potential targets for collaboration. Now, as we'll get into, one of the best things about the 60/40 platform is that you'll be able to find on here like-minded business owners and entrepreneurs who are literally looking for the same thing that you are, relationships through opportunity. This means no more cold calling or cold outreach. So here you're looking to find an indirect competitor, one that will be super happy to give you their customers because your products or services are complementary to theirs. You are not directly in conflict with them either, and that's what we're going to try to identify. Now, there's basically 4 steps to creating a win-win joint venture or strategic partnership. So step 1 is to know exactly who your ideal customer or client is. The next steps only work when you are absolutely crystal clear on who your target is. Step 2 is to make a list of who else is competing for their attention and who has non-competitive or even better, complementary products or services. This just means that it fills a gap that you have as well. It could be a great add-on or even something that's not hugely productive for you, but you could help create a partnership to get done what you need without having to serve it in-house. It will take something that might be marginal at best for your business to deliver and turn it into a profit center instead. Now, 60/40 will make this easier in the long run, as rather than simply make a list of cold outreach targets, you can start your search on our platform to identify any businesses that might already serve your target market. Now, here's an example from the accounting industry. Now, as a consultant, I might offer strategic business advice. However, I don't do tax returns. That means to maintain the best client relationship and for complete ease from the client's perspective, I could find a tax accountant to partner with who can serve my client in that space. This helps me preserve the client relationship and makes it easy for me to do business and for the client to see the maximum outcome from their relationship in working with me. So who are your indirect competitors? Those businesses who are competing for the same attention of the customer. These will be the same people who are bidding on the same keywords as you, who are attending or sponsoring the same trade shows or other events that you're looking for in order to generate business. Start by considering what resources that you have that could be an advantage for someone that's an indirect competitor. We ask you to consider what resources that you have and then what do you need. This will then start getting you to hone in on exactly what type of other business that you can look to put together a partnership deal with. Once you have that in mind, so you know your ideal client and you know the types of indirect competitors that you might approach, then comes the thought process of what resources that they have. Step 3 is to figure out exactly what a win will look like for each of you. Now, note here, I didn't say what a win looks like for you. Starting to put together a good deal for outreach means that you have to start with the other person. What sort of an offer would make it attractive for that person to seek to even look at making an arrangement with you? And once all of that is done, step 4 is to make the proposal with a view of putting together the deal. This part is definitely made easier on the 60/40 platform simply because when our opportunity database grows larger, we envision having hundreds of opportunities on there covering all different aspects, so it should make finding a new opportunity much easier. You can then use our deal-making frameworks to start putting together a deal that's truly a win-win. In any type of agreement, though, you have to have clearly defined mission and a vision. You have to know your why. Why are you doing what you do, and why are you considering a new lever like this? Because if you don't have a mission or vision for your business right now, then a JV or strategic partnership is going to be quite tough. And this is because there needs to be boundaries. If you don't know where you are going, how can you collaborate with someone else to deliver an end result? Because you will wind up where you're headed, and you don't want to be directionless. Besides, you need to work with people that you like. Life is way too short to work with people that don't make you happy. And if you know your why, then you can partner with people who also share the same overarching end state as you. It becomes a filter through which you can make a decision about a partner who might have a different mission to you, but whose overall path aligns with where it is that you want to go. So there are 2 major things that I think you need in order to build great joint ventures and strategic partnerships, and both of these are available on or through our platform. Now, the first is education. Understanding just what is possible and the opportunities that exist when you use joint ventures and strategic partnerships in your business can be one of the biggest mind-expanding things ever. There are lots of people on the internet who look to sell courses surrounding this, but honestly, earlier works by Jay Abraham are great for understanding the scale of what is truly possible. We'll link to some of these over the next few weeks in our social channels, but you don't have to pay for a course to know what makes a good business deal. It needs to be a win-win for everyone. The 60/40 platform gives you an easy way to frame up what you're looking for in a joint venture or strategic partnership. You can take an inventory of your own assets and really understand what it is that your business needs. We aim to help you take out the legwork in cold outreach and build an opportunity directory where you can find exactly who you're looking for to leverage off and to truly build your businesses together. So let us show you how to do this now. So step number 1 is to sign up and complete your profile. To be able to use this opportunity inside the 60/40 platform, you need to first register and also complete an accurate profile. Now to register is easy. Simply go to app.6040.io/register. A link for this is in the description below. Simply walk through each of the steps, and once registered, you will have a basic business setup inside the platform. While registration creates a basic business profile for you, the good stuff comes when you fill it all in and make it your own. Complete your preferences, upload any media or images that you want to use, and fill out both the short and long form descriptions about your business. And while you're in the business profile section, please take the time to complete all of the tabs about your business. The ones that you see here are if you're registered as a business-to-business or a B2B member. No one but you will be able to see all of this info, but by keeping these tabs up to date, you'll be able to make the most of being on our platform, especially as we begin to roll out new features over the coming months. And aside from keeping this updated, you'll only need to fill this complete section out once. The business directory part of the profile is visible to all other members and to the public on our front site 6040.directory. And it's in here that you want to showcase your talent, knowledge, skills, and experience, which is the information that you enter when completing your profile. This is the profile that other members will be looking at to see if you're a good fit for them and their business. So please be sure to use this to your advantage and highlight your key attributes, and make sure that you upload any relevant sales material or other media. So once you're all set up, you can then start posting and looking over different opportunities. To show you this, we're just going to use my screen. And here we're going to start on the dashboard. Just to let you know, we are in the dev site, and this is just so that I can show you how these opportunities work without cluttering up the real site. Because of this, there might be some minor differences in what you see, but that's nothing to worry about because the functionality will be all the same, if not better. So now that that's covered off, now it's time to create your new opportunity. To do that, you simply use the left-hand navbar and select this little icon here for opportunity. And if you're unsure, you can use this little tab and see this information. Once you click on that, this page will then open. Here, use the drop-down menu and then make your selection for the type of opportunity that you want to list. We've covered the difference between a joint venture and strategic partnership in the earlier part of the video. So here, you just have to make a call about which type of opportunity that you want to set up. Today, I'm going to select Create a Strategic Partnership. So we click on this and then select Go. So these are all form driven, and once you've made a selection, you will be asked a series of questions about your opportunity. And once you're in the form, just work through each of these tabs and please be sure to answer all of the questions, as this will then help you be clear about exactly what it is that you're looking to achieve. Once you've completed all the information, then select Review. That will open up this pop-up window which contains all of the information in summary form about what it is that you've entered. If you're happy that that's correct, then click Save and your opportunity will be live. Once your strategic partnership or joint venture opportunity has been listed, it will then be available to view in the Opportunity Search section. So that's this one here, which you can access by clicking this icon or alternatively using this button and selecting it there. You can use this section first to see if someone has what it is that you're looking for, and that way you can reach out to them to see if there's a deal to be made. So you can search by here using the drop down, and in this case, we might select strategic partnership or joint venture. So here we're going to choose this one. If something takes your interest, view the offer profile, read through it, and if it's something that you're interested in, then just simply get in touch by completing this little box here. Now we're going to be formalizing our agreements as well in the coming months, which will make this contact process even easier. And as a member, be sure to check back in regularly and browse through all of the different opportunities. This is so that you can then run through the filters until you find what it is that you're looking for. The other way that you can search is to be able to search by what it is that you're after. So I'm an accountant, right? So I'm looking for things that might have an accounting bent or be looking to partner with an accountant. So here I can choose that. No matter what, when you review, ask questions and create a dialogue to ensure that you're all on the same page in terms of the deliverable, timeframes, and budgets for what it is that you're looking for. Once that's all squared away, you can then move to the agreement phase where the key points get included so that everybody can stay on top of their game. In the back end as well, we're going to be doing some fancy work as well. So if you come across a match that isn't seen by members, then we're going to aim to make a connection too. Simply, we can't wait to see how people use these opportunities inside our platform. So that brings us to the end of this session, and the big takeaway from today is that while strategic partnerships and joint ventures might not necessarily be easy, done well, they can be a major X factor in your growth and stability plans for managing your business. This comes down to planning and being clear on what it is that you're looking for. In working through our opportunity platform, not only can you firm up and become clear about what you're after, you can find a match without all of the hard work and cold outreach. After watching this, if you think of any questions or things that have come up, reach out to us through any of our social channels or send us an email to hello@6040.io. We're always happy to help. We'd love to see you sign up for our platform and begin to use it to start finding new business relationships. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching and have an amazing rest of the day.